I'm Adam Acquistapace with Acquistapaces. We're a family-run business, just like a lot of others. And today, we're gonna go see one of the best breweries in the state of Louisiana. There's another family-owned business from the Caramontas called Gnarly Barley in Hammond. So join me today, and we're gonna go take a look and go check it out. I'm over here at Gnarly Barley in Hammond, Louisiana with Zach Caramonta, the owner and founder. And we're here to talk a little bit about some beer today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Love to talk about beer.
And so you guys have some signature products, some signature beers.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about those and what's some of the inspiration behind them and how you've made them.
So, I'm going to start with the biggest one, and that's Jucifer. Jucifer IPA is done more for this brewery than any other beer that we've created. It was a huge win for us back in 2016. And, it all kind of started out from a friend of mine had brought some beers back from Vermont. And, that style IPA really hadn't done much in South Louisiana. It really hadn't been explored nationally a whole lot. And so we were setting up for an event. We were, only a few years into production. And we were setting up for a little event at the brewery, and I got a minute to kind of jump away. And I cracked this can open. I didn't even look at what it was. I pulled it out of the grocery bag that he brought me from his travels, and I cracked it open, and I was just, as soon as I put it to my lips, I was like, whoa, this is something that I've never tasted before. This is amazing. The beer, the little beer that I ended up accidentally getting my hands on, or randomly getting my hands on, was Sip of Sunshine, which perfectly illustrated the actual flavors. It tasted like sunshine. It tasted like, I think of sunshine, I think of citrus, I think of orange, I think of a little grapefruit, night breakfast, you think of sunrise, right? I grabbed Joey and I was like, man, taste this beer. We have to recreate this. This is just delicious. I love this. I want to drink this more, and I don't want to have to go to Vermont to get it.
Right.
So, fortunately, we worked on a few test batches and we found what we thought was a very good representation of that style.
Right.
Now, obviously, we're not out to copy beers. But when we fall in love with something, we want to recreate it in gnarly style,
yep,
in the best way we can. Famously now that beer style has grown and every brewery produces a version of that style, Juicy Hazy IPA. But for us, that was definitely a big moment. It kicked off a lot of fun stuff, a lot of creativity, and has been big for us.
So you guys have a lot of beers, make a lot of beers. Outside of Jucifer, what are the few other, what you consider flagship, most important beers that you guys make? And then, and what do you think makes those beers special?
Well, I can't even talk about this without talking about Catahoula Common. It was the first beer that we released. In 2014, we opened up as a draft-only brewery. First beer was Catahoula Common, which is a Louisiana kind of version of a common style or steam beer. It's a easy drinking lager with a little amber flavor to it, a little flair to it. It's definitely something that has, it helped get us off the ground. And still to this day, it's one of our best-selling beers. For a beer to last 10 years and to continue to do well and to continue to be one of our main flagships is just amazing to me. And that beer definitely is a special place in my heart as it being one of our first beers. Aside from that, we also now produce Skaterade, which is an Italian Pilsner. I got some Italian roots, so it makes a little sense for me.
I get it.
But an Italian Pilsner is a really crisp, refreshing beer that has a little bit of a dry hop or a hoppy, kind of more of a citrus pine hop or herbal hop than it does a very pungent hop. It's not like an IPA or pale ale. That beer, not only is it special in my heart because of the way of the beer style itself, but a portion of the proceeds of sales of that beer year-round go to support local skate initiatives.
Okay.
So I grew up playing all sports, about every sport you could possibly play. But later in life, skateboarding became a really big part of my life. Skate park fundraising and nonprofit work around that industry became very important to me. In fact, my first brew house or my first home brewing system was built next to my half pipe many years ago in 2009 in my yard. So it's it's always been near and dear to me. So now that being and running a company that we can actually give back to something that has always been close to me, it was huge. So when we released this flagship, we decided to make it a fundraising beer, and kind of where the name comes from, Skaterade, aiding skaters. That's a very popular, growing. We've been out a couple years. It's one of our faster growing flagships. Very near and dear to my heart.
Cool. So, how do you decide on new beer recipes if that's the case? And do you involve customers in feedback
Yes, we really do. You know, and as we've grown, and the tap room environment has grown so much. You know, in 2014 when we opened, Louisiana did not allow tap room, and so we basically could do a free tour, and that was it, and give a few samples away. So in 2016, when the tap room environment started becoming more of what we do here, instead of just the purely manufacturing, you know, bringing customers in immediately was something that we were bouncing feedback off. You know, our new beer, House Marg, which is basically a German sour style beer with a margarita flair. That beer we ran through, I think, 7 or 8 test batches, and we allowed customers to try 2 at a time. They'd come in, they'd try the 2 test batches, and we'd say 1 or 2, and they'd pick that one, and then we'd say 3 or 4 and pick that one. And we went through, we kept a tally, and then eventually we honed in the final recipe, and that was a fun thing. It brings people, makes them feel like they get to be part of the experience, and helps us out tremendously. Yep. Because, you know, you can sample the beers yourself all you want, but sometimes you think something's perfect and it really just doesn't match what the market wants. Yep. And then sometimes, you know, you think something is not quite where you want it, and everybody says, no, this is the batch, this is what we want. And so yeah, we love bringing people, we love bringing the public in, and love getting feedback. Every time I get an email, we make sure to respond, whether it's a positive or a negative email. Tell me, not everybody likes the same beers, but we want to hear about it. We want to hear about it. We want to talk to you about it. Is it a can that got busted open and you somehow, you know, purchased it? You know, we want to know about how often that happens. So definitely customer feedback is amazing for us. We're such a small, locally family-owned business, and we're so entrenched in this community that is what we live on. We live and breathe on customer feedback. Yeah. So if you buy our beer, drink it, love it, tell us what you think about it, and we will take that into account.
Man, we love your beer, and we're a family-owned business too. I get it. And but you guys do a great job, and we really appreciate you guys letting us do this and come over here to the brew house, because it's a real live working brewery in here.
Oh yeah,
and everything else that's involved with it. It's pretty amazing. So, but I really appreciate it. And anybody that comes over here to the brewery, y'all come see Zach and his wife and everybody else, the whole team. And it's an amazing thing. So make sure you guys support Gnarly Barley, because they're doing awesome stuff over here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
How awesome was that? Zach has a unbelievable wealth of knowledge about all things beer and brewery, and is another locally owned business over in Hammond and on the North Shore. He does a great job, and it's one of the best breweries in the state of Louisiana, and they really do a great job. So come over here to Acquistapace and come check out our huge selection of all these beers from Gnarly Barley.